Welcome to Powered by Authenticity. I am so excited today to welcome two of our hometown heroes from Sleep in Heavenly Peace, Donna Ritchie from the Rochester chapter and Jerry Sheldon from the Buffalo chapter. Across the United States, there's more than 150,000 children who are still waiting for a bed of their own. Here in our Western New York community, the need is right on our own doorstep. Rochester's waitlist is about 300 kids, and Buffalo's is about 695. If you've ever watched a child drift off after a long day, you know what a bed really is. It's warmth, safety, and a place to belong. Too many kids are laying their heads down on floors, couches, or makeshift spots tonight. Donna and Jerry are changing that story bed by bed, and I'm so grateful that they're here to talk about that work. And so welcome to the podcast, Donna and Jerry. How are you guys tonight?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's nice chatting with you, Emily.
Yeah, I'm so appreciative of the work that you're doing. I found out about the organization through my church here in Batavia, the First Presbyterian Church of Batavia, and I know they're going to start doing some work and become a chapter and do some more localized things here in Genesee County. And when I got the notice about the work that they were doing, I couldn't believe that this was still such an issue across the U.S. So it was really heart-wrenching. So really thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's so great. And how would you guys like to do a quick intro and tell us about yourselves? Donna, you want to get us started?
Sure. My name is Donna Ritchie, and like Emily said, I am co-president of the Rochester chapter. It's myself and my husband, Sean. And we have been doing this in Rochester for about 6 years, and we have just delivered our 1,300th bed.
Oh my gosh.
To local kids. Yeah.
Awesome. Jerry?
Great. Hi, good evening, and thanks for having me. I'm the chapter president here in the Buffalo chapter, but I have a strong cast with me, my wife, Mary Jo, and our close friends, Rick and Betsy DeVita. The four of us did the training together, and I drew the short straw to be the president. So like Rochester, we've been at this for 5.5 years or so. But our model is a little different than Donna's. We've delivered over 6,400 beds in the about 5.5 years time.
That's amazing. That's a lot of beds between the two of you guys. Oh my gosh, that's just amazing.
We have unfortunately have tremendous need, but we also have tremendous people, and they just eat this up. They love being part of it.
Yeah. Well, I was fortunate to drop my daughter off for a delivery day as part of an NU community service exercise last week, and I was blown away at just everything that you've developed. So I can't wait to chat about that a little bit. We like to do a little bit of an icebreaker here at the podcast. It typically involves some sort of like food or beverage because we believe that food is a great connector. It brings everybody together. So I'm curious, if you go into a local coffee shop, what is it that you're ordering off the menu? Donna?
If they have it, I will order a chai latte. I love chai. If they don't, I'll just get a decaf non-fat latte is my go-to. I'm a decaf girl.
Nice. I wish I was. Wait, do you have a favorite coffee shop in Rochester?
We have a place called the Chai Guy who has great chai, and it's right in the city, but otherwise I'll just go to Starbucks.
Yeah, I never heard of the Chai Guy before. I'm going to have to, my son's looking at me like,
never
what?
Heard of the Chai Guy? It's been a while since you've been to the market, I think.
I have to branch out, apparently. Jerry, what about yourself?
Well, I unfortunately would have to branch out too, because I don't know it myself. I'm not really much of a coffee shop guy, but if I did go, I would get green tea, and there's I'm sure you have where you are too, the Paneras. We have a lot of Panera places around here, so that's probably a convenient one. And there's another one called Spot Coffee that's in our community that I would go to as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love Spot here at the podcast. So awesome.
Okay.
Green tea's heart healthy. So you guys were both being very healthy. Decaf green tea. I'm jealous. Ken, what are you ordering?
I am a sucker for a caramel macchiato, whole milk instead of 2%. Bonus points if the coffee shop has protein powder.
Okay. All right. Where you go? Favorite place locally that you'll get that?
Oh, any of them.
Any of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the coffee press. They don't have the protein powder, so no bonus points, but
Gotcha.
full points on everything else.
All right. Well, I'm a straight up coffee gal, so whatever latest roast is on drip, actually, for just an IV to constantly go would be great. Well, thanks. We'd love just to get to know people a little bit on that level. I would love for you to share a little bit more about Sleep in Heavenly Peace, the mission, what the soul organization is about with our listeners.
Go ahead, Donna.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay. So Sleep in Heavenly Peace, as a nonprofit organization, it really struck a nerve with me because it, first off, it is a very well-defined mission, and that is beds for kids. And number two, it was such a profound thing that I didn't realize there was actually a problem with in our world that I live in, at least. Yeah. Then I also found that it was part of an organization that has really thought this through in terms of how to do it. And all we had to do was adapt their guidelines and go and do it. They have a very strong mission statement that says no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. And that is so profound and so accurate. But I've kind of developed another one, at least in our community, that I like to say, and that is, it's more than just a bed. Because what we're doing is we're changing a child's life. We're giving them an opportunity to have their own space in maybe a small apartment, to hopefully get a nice night's sleep. Their mom or dad is profoundly affected by the fact that we've done something for their children, and they're usually so grateful. And it also equally important to all of that honestly I didn't think about it initially, was the impact that we have on the adult volunteers that are part of our organization. This has become such a family of people that just genuinely like each other and want to do something together. And it could be a person who lost a spouse and it was really, dealing with a lot of depression issues. And now they've come to this place to build beds, and it's a happy place. It's a place that they find joy. They find purpose in their life. Whether they've lost a job or lost a spouse or just are needing something to do, this has really become a powerful thing. And so it's more than just a bed in terms of what we're doing.
That's beautiful. Donna, do you have anything you want to add?
I would just, Jerry speaks very eloquently. I would just add that you would just be surprised. I can't tell you how many adults I've had come up to me and say, you know what, I didn't have a bed as a kid, or I shared a bed with siblings and my mom as a kid. And it would surprise you, people who you'd think are very successful. And we just had a build with my colleagues at work. And afterwards we went out and we're just talking. And one of the women said, I completely forgot about it. It's what memory just washed over me, that I didn't have a bed as a kid and I shared with a sibling. So it is very powerful. And it is, like Jerry said, it's a need that most of us don't think about. You think about giving the kids backpacks during the school year, you think about winter coats during the winter, but a bed is something that we just take for granted that everyone has. And that's not the case. We see kids sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a couch, and they can't go to bed until the rest of the family goes to bed, so they're staying up too late. We see them sleeping on a pallet with just a few blankets on there. So there is a need in our community. And just imagine not getting a good night's sleep and then trying to perform at work or at school. So just giving a kid a good night's sleep, it just improves their lives so much, and it helps them be better learners at school.
Yeah. It's I was astonished actually that there was such a need still in the United States, that there were so many kids who just did not have a place to tuck themselves into at night to feel safe and warm and rested. I don't know how do they go through school? They have to feel so tired every day if they're sharing a bed or on a couch or something. So the positive impact of just having a rest has got to be so meaningful to these kids.
100% right. You see, at least I think this is fairly true statement in many urban areas, that the school performance is in general not great, and you can point to a number of reasons, but I guarantee you one of them is that many of those kids do not get a good night's sleep, and they go to school on edge already, and the violence that you see in school sometimes is generated by a kid who's been up all night and somebody picks on him and then he snaps.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Well, just staying healthy. I mean, there has to be studies that have done, that are out there that we could reference that just show when a child is rested, how they just have a better health and wellness overall. So I know it's true for us adults, right? Like
for sure.
First thing we need is rest, or we get cranky. Well, how did you each find your own start? So how did you find out about Sleep in Heavenly Peace? How did you get started and just wanting to be a part of the organization?
I can start. My husband and I, we have 2 adult daughters, and we were having dinner with one of them one night, and we just started talking about kids in need and just the many needs that they have in the community. And my daughter said, "Oh, I have these friends in Michigan who do this thing with beds for kids." And she just talked about it for a little bit. And then my husband and I both went to work the next day, looked it up at work on our computers. My husband comes back home that night. He goes, "I am 40% convinced we should get involved with this." And I said, "Me too." So we together were 80% convinced that we should get involved. And so we were thinking about it, and just trying to. We were newly empty nesters, so we had a little time on our hands. And then a few weeks later, we went to church, and the message was on James: "Faith without works is dead." And I was like, "That's it. It's a sign. We're getting involved." And next thing I know, we were on a flight heading to Idaho for a chapter president's training.
Oh, that's amazing. Jerry, how about yourself? That's so cool, Donna. It's like divine intervention always happens. Like there's guidance and direction when you most need it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true. My story is different, but it's the same. We were driving to Florida, and my wife, Mary Jo, was driving, and I was on my phone looking at some things on LinkedIn, and I see this video, this guy getting an award through CNN for building beds for kids. And the founder, Luke Mickelson, got this Heroes Award. And I was just moved by this. Again, that coming back to the fundamental thing, that kids don't have beds. And I was kind of blown away by that. And I turned to my wife and I said, "We should get involved with this." And she, of course, was like, "No, we're already involved with too many things. Don't do another thing." And I said, "No, we should look into this." And then I realized there was nobody doing it in our community. Well, we came back from Florida, and we were out to dinner with our friends, Rick and Betsy DeVita. And I brought this topic up. And Betsy said, "I saw the same video. We should do this." So that moment, the 4 of us said, "Let's go out to Idaho and get the training to do this." So it was, again, kind of divine intervention that she saw the same video that I did and came to the same conclusion. And then we dragged our spouses along with us.
Oh, I love that. And so Idaho is where the organization's based out of at the national level?
Correct.
Okay. And so would you share a little bit about, so I know you've got a couple different things. You've got your build days, you've got your delivery days. Can you share a little bit about what it means to with the build days, like the process that you get? Because you're building every single bed that gets delivered. Like this is not like you're ordering off of Amazon and they're coming in and you take them. You actually put together the beds and assemble them, and you do the staining and you do the whole process. So would you mind sharing just a little bit of what that looks like to build a bed?
Sure.
It's a very clever process, and it's very much like a production line. We'll have a couple people sanding, and then a few people assembling a headboard, then a few people are doing putting pilot holes in another piece of wood. So you're just doing one job. So you're not taking a piece of wood and taking it start to finish to make a bed. It's all very easy to learn. You're learning, one skill. How do you brand a bed? How do you drill pilot holes? And it's all very clever and easy to learn. And so our volunteer bunkheads, that's what we call ourselves, because we build twin beds and bunks. We will be at each station teaching our volunteers how to build the bed components. And then we kit them together at the build. And then we are able to take everything that's pre-drilled and kitted together with the hardware to the homes to deliver. And then they go together pretty quickly because everything's already pre-drilled. So and people have asked me many times, what's more important, to have a good volunteer experience or to build as many beds as possible at a build? And I would say 100% a good volunteer experience, because our volunteers are coming in, they're showing up for kids. We want them to have a good time and have a positive experience, because many of them want to come back, or they'll say, I work for a company that likes to do service projects. I'm going to talk to them and maybe we'll do one at my work. So they're really positive experiences, and people really enjoy it. And they leave feeling empowered. They've learned how to use a drill, or they learned how to, assemble something. So it's really empowering, and people really enjoy doing it.
Awesome. So one other, and I remember, I think in talking with Donna, the way you stain the beds, it was steel wool. There was something that helped to deter bed bugs. Is that correct?
Right. It is a solution that is made with vinegar and steel wool. And the acid in the vinegar will consume the metal, if you will, the steel wool, and turn it into a dark brown stain. And so when you submerge the part in it for 10 or 15 seconds, they fully encapsulate that piece of wood. And when it dries, it is resistant to bed bugs, and it's non-toxic. And equally important, it's inexpensive to make. So it's a pretty ingenious thing, and it's worked very effectively through chapters all over the country.
I had no idea that was like you could stain a piece of wood like that. I just found it fascinating. And I think the other reason it was hitting is that some of these homes probably have had issues with bed bug infestation, or it's because it sounds like sometimes you're not in the there's some issues with buildings and things like that. So you're bringing something new that's also super safe for a child, because you've taken that extra step, which I think that's brilliant. I had no idea that was the thing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. And so the other thing, in a typical delivery day, you've got a lot of volunteers that come. Do you have an average of how long it takes you when you get to a person's home to put together a bed?
Sure. So we do a lot of deliveries. I delivered 10 beds this morning. And if you go to a home that has done a following few things. Number one, they clear out the room so you can have access to the room. Number two, it's well lit and you can see pretty well. If it is a single bed and we have 4 or 5 people there, and these guys are competitive, and gals, sometimes they will set a stopwatch on their phone when we go in, and we can be in and out of the house in 6 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
That's even talking with mom or dad for a little while. So if it's a single bed, it can go very fast. Now, the flip side of that is if you go to a home and first off, nobody's awake. So you wait for 10 or 15 minutes before you get in. And then you find out that the room is not well lit. And it's not very clean. And it takes a while. And then you will spend a half hour to 40 minutes at that house for one bed. So it changes on every delivery. But in our case, when we do a Saturday morning delivery, we will leave by 8:30 and usually be back by noon.
Oh,
And that delivery team will have done anywhere from 8 to 12 beds.
that's incredible. It's incredible. Do you guys have a certain, and this wasn't on our prep sheet, so I apologize, but something just, you have to have a moment after a delivery that sticks with you. Do you have any one moment from a special delivery that you'd each like to share? Does anyone stick out when you think about delivery day?
Go ahead, Donna.
One of my favorites was a little girl, and we delivered her bed, and we were getting ready to make the bed because our beds come complete with a mattress, sheets, comforter, pillow, and pillowcase. So we were about to make her bed, and I pulled this bedding out of the bag, and it was some Disney princess. And she goes, I like unicorns. I'm like, yeah, but this is whoever it was, Moana or somebody. She goes, no, unicorns. I go, hang on a second. I always pack extra bedding when we deliver, just in case.
Yeah.
So I said, hang on a second. I go into the trailer. I pull out the bag with the extra bedding, unicorns.
Aww.
So I just happen to have them. I bring them in the house, and she just loses her mind. She's so excited to have unicorns in her bedding. So that just really made me smile that she got her new bed and she got unicorns, and she was absolutely thrilled.
Oh, that's so. And the just again divine intervention that you had those
right.
Video. Yeah.
And all of our bedding, we've just been very fortunate in Rochester. All of our bedding has been donated. We have never had to spend a dime on bedding. So we'll have individuals, we'll have students who want to do a service project, and they'll have bedding drives for us, and they'll collect bedding. So we get what we get. And sometimes it's unicorns, and sometimes it's superheroes, and it's all great. But we just happen to have unicorns for this one girl. So,
oh, I love that. Really Jerry, how about yourself?
Honestly, every time I do a delivery, I have a new favorite child. But there is a few that stick out. We went to this one house, and like I said, we do our deliveries on Saturday morning. And the first delivery, we're usually pulling up to the house around 9 o'clock. So we pull up to this house. This was a single bed for probably about a 9-year-old boy. He was waiting at the door for us, and he was so excited, and he helped us carry this stuff up to the room. And his mom told us he got up at 6 a.m. because he knew this was the day his bed was coming.
Aww.
He was so excited. So our volunteer group, and I'm sure this is true at any chapter, they're so friendly, they're so engaging with the family, and so they're talking to this little guy, and they're talking to him about this big day that he's getting a bed. And he said, I've been waiting for months for this, because his mom had applied, and unfortunately our backlog at some points gets great, and they may wait a few months before we get to him. So he had been waiting for a while. So we get the bed made. He's all excited. He jumps on his bed, and then he goes over and talks to his mom kind of in private. And I happen to catch this out of the corner of my eye, and I see the mom saying, no, we're not doing that. And so I asked Mom, I said, what does he want? She said, well, he has a savings account with money in it. He wants to give you all the money so you can build another bed for another child.
Oh.
And I said, Mom, you've done an awesome job with this little guy. That's his mindset. You know, the thing that has happened is many times we could be the only outside people that ever come into their home. And that experience for them is very powerful. And so this kid left something with me that I'll never forget.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. He was this poor little guy just wanting to help give back. I mean, to your point, good job, Mom and Dad, for that. Holy cow. Oh, so my gosh, I probably would cry the whole time. So I am going to help on a delivery because I feel like it would be a very good experience.
You'll be able to do it in your backyard pretty soon. You know?
I know. I'm excited about that. And I'm not sure anybody was aware that in our local communities, there's still just this much need. And I know I saw the numbers that Rula sent through, and that's the pastor at my church, for like the estimates for people in Genesee County, and it was mind-boggling that we have such an issue here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so sad. And so the communities as a whole, the local communities get involved in, so everything is brand new, right? Like the mattresses, all of the bedding and everything. How are the local communities jumping in to really help? You mentioned drives with colleges, but how are some of the other ways that you found that the community is just engaging with the organization?
I remember when we first went to chapter president's training in Idaho, and they were telling us people are going to come out of the woodwork and want to help and want to donate. And my husband and I said, yeah, right. We're going to have to grind it out. Like, you know what I mean? We'll have to figure it all out ourselves. And really, people have come out of the woodwork. It has been so surprising how I'll just get an email out of the blue. Hey, this is my name. This is my company. We want to sponsor a build. We want to get involved. We want to go out in a delivery. It really had, and sometimes I'll just get a $1,000 check in the mail, and just completely out of the blue. I won't know who they are. I won't know what their connection is. So it really has been surprising how word has spread. And most of that in Rochester is actually through Facebook and just through word of mouth. People will see something on Facebook, or they'll know somebody who's been involved or who went to a build, and just word has spread, and people have reached out to us. We've had to do very little recruiting and fundraising on our own, which has been such a pleasant surprise.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have found that we have such an engaged, committed group of volunteers who also, by the way, happen to be in my age generation. So many of them have worked a long time and have a pretty strong network of people. And by being able to tap into these networks that all of these different volunteers have brought forward has made this a fairly easy thing to make an ask. I mean, I am not by nature one that likes to go and ask for money. I was never in sales. I'm a technical person, so it wasn't in my wheelhouse. But I can remember early on going to Syracuse and seeing the operation they have there, being kind of blown away by the sheer amount of money they must have to run that. And I asked them, how do you do this? And they said, we've never had to worry about money. It just comes. And I had a hard time accepting that as a small business owner, thinking that's kind of BS. I mean, I always worried about money. And so it really scared me. But, sitting here 5 years and a half in, I no longer worry about money, because there's two fundamental things that make people want to donate to us. One is the fundamental problem of bedlessness that people just never thought was a real problem. Mm-hmm. And number two, the fact that we're all volunteers. There's no paid staff. So our overhead is relatively insignificant. And so if you give me $100, there's a pretty darn good chance that $95 or more of that is going into that bed for that kid. So if you're an astute donor and you're looking at that kind of stuff, it makes a lot of sense to help us.
Yeah.
So it's been pretty good.
Yeah. And I love that. I think that, to your point, there's oftentimes where you give to larger organizations, nonprofits, and you're like, how can I see my money actually going into action? And, I know right away, you guys, you can see what's going into action into the community. It just by visiting the websites or talking to yourselves or visiting the build centers. It's you see that money in action. Like, you don't have to guess where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. So,
yeah.
And I was going to ask you if your networks have been leveraged. Like, has that helped to build success? Jerry, it definitely sounds like, you guys have been able to tap in. And Donna, even to your point about having your organization that you work for come and do builds. Like, it feels like your networks have been one of your most valuable tools that you have.
For sure. And even all our volunteers, I'll make a Facebook post and then they share it. And I'll tag all of them, and they all share it with their networks. And so it is amazing the power of social media. And and how our little message has gotten out there.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that. I say that all the time. Like, it costs nothing to like and share on social platforms, but it can make such an impact to a business, to a nonprofit, to an event. Like, it's just the value of that little micro support, for lack of a better term, is so impactful to the people on the other end. So we'll put links to your social platforms in the show notes as well, so people can go out there and take a look. Yeah, of course. So what's one thing you'd like our listeners to know about the work you're doing with Sleep in Heavenly Peace? What's one thing you'd like to leave the listeners with about that work?
Well, I guess comes back to something I said earlier. It's more than just a bed for these kids. It is a place for them to do their homework. It's a place for them to play. It's a place that they can sleep. And you can know that all the volunteers that did it put their heart and soul in it, and they got something out of it too. And it's not that expensive to support and help us get another kid off the floor. So I think awareness of what we do is so important. Honestly, the money's great, but we raise awareness, and then people come in and they participate, then they give.
Well, that's beautiful. Donna?
And I try to remind, the chapter presidents will talk amongst ourselves and just say, we're not just serving the kids, we're serving the community as well. Because during the bills, and even during the deliveries, people love to get back. And we tell them, anyone can write a check, and we are absolutely happy and thrilled to take your check. But to come to a build, you are directly building something with your own hands that will directly benefit a child. And that's really powerful, because so many people give to major organizations and you don't know where that money goes. But you are sanding a piece of wood that's going to be part of a bed for a local child, a child in our community. So it is quite powerful to know that you are directly benefiting a child.
Yeah. And I think, the downstream impacts to that are just so there's just so many of them, from school performance to feeling well to just having healthy children out in our communities to, play and have fun and, just know that they go back to a safe space in that bed. I've heard, we had on Dion Williamson from Upward Design for Life. And, she was talking about making these homes safe, and that the bed are truly sometimes the only single space that kids have. And so the work that you're doing, you bring that safety net to them. And it's just, again, I still can't believe there's so many kids in the United States who just don't have that available to them. And the work that you're doing is just amazing. So thank you for doing that. And what, outside of sharing, outside of donating time, is there anything else that you that the listeners could hop in to help with and support the mission?
Well, again, in our case, we are always promoting awareness of what we do. And certainly we run a fairly big operation. So funding of what we do, even though I don't worry about money that much, I know how important it is. And so ongoing financial support of what we do, as well as volunteer support. Donna made a comment earlier about their linens and that theirs are 100% donated. That is really important to every chapter, regardless of where they are, is that people donate linens, because they're expensive and they take up a big chunk of capital if you have to go and buy it all. So awareness, linens, and financial support are all great ways to help us.
Amazing.
And we are happy to make it easy for you to donate financially. You can go on the website. You can donate to the national chapter. Jerry and I would much rather have you donate in your area. So if you live in the Buffalo area, you can make your donation go directly to the Buffalo chapter. If you live in the Rochester area, you can have it go directly to Rochester. We even have a bunkhead club where you can sign up for an automatic $20 donation per month. And at the end of 1 year, you will have donated enough money to pay for a bed.
Oh, that's great.
And that money will cover the lumber, the materials, the hardware, the mattress, and the bedding. So there are many different ways that you can donate, but we're happy to make it easy for you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Well, I actually have a question. Do you accept homemade blankets? So if somebody's
We sure do.
crocheter, yeah?
We have quilters. We have people who crochet. So
Yeah.
we are able to take homemade blankets. We are not able to take used, but we get beautiful quilts and crocheted blankets.
We probably have 4 or 5 different quilting organizations that are regularly donating quilts to us. And to Donna's point, some of these are like heirloom quality things that are frankly more valuable than the bed you're being put on.
Yeah.
But they are gorgeous things. So you take all that kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
And it's so funny. I had one group thank me for taking their quilts.
Aww.
Because they love doing them, and they used to donate them to the hospital, and the hospital won't take them anymore. She was like, "Oh, thank you so much for taking these." I'm like, "Thank you."
Oh,
and then we frequently take pictures of them and give them back to the quilting group so they can see a child sitting on a bed with a quilt that they made. So that's something that we do.
That's great. What about those tie blankets? Do you take those as well? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we take them.
Okay, that's about the extent of my craftiness. So that would be.
We have a colleague of mine. She's a Girl Scout leader, and I said, "Oh, it's a great project for a Girl Scout troop." And so every month before their meeting, the girls, while they're waiting for everyone to show up, they work for like 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of every meeting, and they work on a fleece tie blanket. All of them work on it together. And then after a few months, they'll give me 5 or 6 fleece tie blankets. And so the kids love making them. They're easy to do. And the kids love receiving them. They're really warm and cozy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. All right. Was there anything that my team and I can do to immediately support you? We'll definitely, next time I'll make sure that I can stay. It was a little short notice with my daughter, but I would love to do a build or delivery day. Producer Ken, what do you think? Shaking his head, yep. Is there anything else we can do to help? Well, we're going to promote this. Like I said, when I heard about the organization, my heart just I'm not sure what happened, but I was like, I can't believe there's that many kids out there without a place to rest.
So. Yeah, we just recently did a grant application, and it asked for the zip code coverages that we are covering, the population, and what we anticipated the need was. And so for about this was Batavia, Niagara Falls, and Buffalo, and some of our suburbs. With the population of those zip codes was somewhere around 500,000, and the need for beds was around 26,000. So we've done a lot of beds, but we have a long way to go because there's a lot of kids that are still searching for that good night's sleep.
Yeah. I didn't even think about the grant application process as well. That's got to take up some of your time just to all the focus on that.
There's a number of things that creep into my day. I give Donna and Sean a lot of credit because they both are still holding down full-time jobs and doing this as well. They're to be applauded because this is not a light undertaking to run a chapter. It's a lot of work.
It's not. And I have to tell you, what I call the throughway chapters, Buffalo, Rochester, Auburn, Syracuse, we're all pretty tight, and we're all such fans and supporters of each other. My husband and I were in Buffalo, and Jerry said, "Come on down, see our shop." And so we came down, and we're talking numbers, and they've delivered thousands of beds. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are awesome." They go, "We're retired. You guys work full time. You're awesome." So it's such a love fest between the chapters. We all appreciate each other so much and what we're all doing.
Yeah. Well, the mission and the work that you're doing, I can't say thank you enough. I feel very fortunate that I've always had a a bed at night and a place to rest my head. So thank you for watching out for those who do not, and for supporting our local communities and the larger organization as a whole. Just amazing work, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing to support our community.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for spreading the word and getting the word out there, Emily. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna shout from the rooftops, because again, every child should be able to take their teddy bear and go to bed at night. And it's I just, again, the need being so large is just something that is mind blowing to me in 2025. So
That's right.
yeah, well, I want to thank you again for being on the show. Thank you for taking the time. I know, Donna, you're off to go have a lovely girls' weekend and enjoy some downtime. And, Jerry, thank you for being here. So I just can't say thank you enough. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend a few minutes with us. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And producer Ken, thanks for being here tonight.
You got it.
We appreciate it. And a quick shout out to Go Art here in Batavia, New York, their community art center. And through the use of a grant, we are able to use their podcast studio, and we're very appreciative. And we're also appreciative to all of our listeners and subscribers. So thanks for being here. And Jerry and Donna, thank you so much for joining me on the show tonight.
It was our
Thank
pleasure.
you, Emily. No kid sleeps on the floor in our town.
Oh, I
That's
love
true.
that.
It's true.
It's
more than just a bed.
Oh, thanks you guys so much. Have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Thanks.
See ya.